Hello guys, welcome back scoundrels to the Scoundrel Den. I hope you're all doing well. I am doing much better today. If you watched yesterday, you may have seen that I was feeling a little bit under the weather, but I'm not feeling as much under the weather today. I'm not 100%, but I'm getting there. If you're feeling better or feeling good today, smash that sub button, like actually with your fist, just straight through the screen. Maybe give you 2 times the subs, who knows. Otherwise, thanks to G2A for sponsoring the channel. There's a reference link in the description below. So today we're talking about the Vexor Navy issue, which is... This guide is like 2 months too late for most people, but I want to talk about it anyway because I haven't done it and it's just something that I've been really enjoying playing on my alt. So I have an alt that is completely dedicated to drones because drones are so broken for PvE content. I don't think there is as good for PvP. I do think that people kind of undersell drones in PvP scenarios though, because if you spend time killing the drones in a 1v1 PvP scenario, you're not spending time killing the drone ship, and that's always going to be an issue. In large scale PvP warfare though, you don't tend to see drones because they're too easily focused down. Sorry guys, my mum called, yeah. So I do think people underestimate the PvP aspect of drones, especially in small 1v1 scenarios, like the Worm and the Gila are incredibly good PvP cruisers and ships. So, you know, I think drones in small PvP scenarios are actually pretty good, but in large scale PvP scenarios like Corp Wars, you generally don't tend to see them because they're too easily focused down. But for PvE, they are incredibly good. And the main reason being is you can actually get nutty drone range. Like you can get really insane drone range purely through some riggings and skills, as well as using the right ship. And that drone range can often be in excess of 60 kilometers. And unlike other forms of weapons that get that kind of range, you don't get a drop-off in damage application. There is your damage application is all down to the drone type that you're using versus the ship that you're using it against, but the range will never play a factor into the damage application. The only thing that the range plays a factor into is if your drones, at the time it takes for your drones to fly to the target initially, but for most people that's not going to bother them because it's usually at the start of combat and then they can just chain targets together where it's not so bad. So the range that you get on drones makes them just incredibly good. So we're going to talk about the Vexor Navy issue. The Vexor Navy issue is an incredibly good drone ship. 5 drone slots, 2 high slots, but honestly the high slots are absolutely worthless for the most part. Like, I have railguns in there, but I don't even use them because they just drain cap. I'd much rather just let my drones do the work. It's 3 mid slots and 4 low slots, as well as 2 rigging slots of each type. Per advanced medium drone operation level, you're going to get 12% drone DPS, 5% effective drone HP, and 3 kilometers drone control range, meaning that if you max out advanced medium drone operation, you're going to get 15 kilometers drone range, and you're going to get, I believe, 60% DPS, which is pretty good, but obviously not as good as something like the Myrmidon. And per advanced cruiser command bonus, so per level that you've got an advanced cruiser command bonus, you're going to get a -5% inertia modifier, extra scan resolution, and extra sensor strength, which makes the Vexor Navy issue a little bit more maneuverable and also increases its ability to lock and target smaller ships more effectively. Okay guys, I completely forgot to do the skills part of this video, so I'm going to quickly do it now. Clearly, I think you've probably seen enough of my videos to know that you just kind of go for the cruiser or the battle cruiser, depending if you're in a Myrmidon, a Prophecy, or a Vexor. Just look for those skills that I think suit the ship that you're flying. Afterburner or micro warp drive skills, depending if you're going for the boom and zoom or you're just looking to have an afterburner equipped in general, they're always going to be useful. For the Vexor and for the Prophecy and the Myrmidon, they are usually armor tanks, so I'd recommend armor operation, advanced armor operation, armor hardening, and advanced hardening. You're also looking for defense upgrades on the class of ship that you are flying, either cruiser or battle cruiser, and so on. Engineering is always going to be useful, again, for the class of ship that you're flying, and obviously targeting and target management is also going to be incredibly useful. But the most important thing is when it comes to drones. So this is on my alt, that's my trading alt, so I don't have any skills, but for instance, the drone skill here, you'll see at level 5 you're going to get 5 kilometers extra drone control range. At advanced drone, you're also going to get an extra 5 kilometers of drone range, including also drone effective HP. And expert drone, you guessed it, another 5 kilometers of extra drone range, as well as increasing drone velocity and drone signature radius. So these skills are going to help increase your drone range, as well as give you some drone benefits, and also increase the number of drones that you're actually able to control. And then when it comes to the Vexor Navy issue and the battle cruisers that we have available right now, medium drones are going to have their own skills as well. So medium drone operation, which is going to increase the drone damage and the tracking speed. Advanced medium drone operation, which is going to increase the damage and the tracking speed. Plus, if you've got a drone damage amplification thing, it's going to increase the seconds that you can use it by 2 times. And again, the same applies here for expert medium drone operation. And then medium drone upgrade is going to increase the damage, the accuracy fall off, and the optimal range, which means if it's a moving target, they'll be able to keep themselves more accurate for longer. And the same thing then comes applied to advanced medium drone upgrade as well. So there are more skills to invest for drones than there are pretty much any other weapon in the game right now, but they do have the payoff of being just incredibly strong. So it's a very, very good ship. In terms of fittings, we'll have a look. Again, high slots, I've got railguns, but honestly, I don't have any skills in many weapons, so that could be anything that you like. If I was running this on my main, I'd probably put missiles in there. There is no bonuses allocated to a certain weapon type other than drones for the Vexor, so you can just have whatever you like in those high slots. If you're firing at 60k range and you have like I don't know what the range I'm getting. I'm not even getting anywhere near 60k range out of my railguns, so that they're not particularly useful. Could actually end up replacing them with missiles if I wanted to, but otherwise just use something that if a target closes the distance on you, you want to have some extra form of DPS. It will often help you out. Mid slots, I'm hilariously under-equipped on this ship, but I just put a Stasis Web of Fire in. I would recommend either 1 Stasis Web of Fire and 2 Nosferatus, or 2 Stasis Web of Fires and 1 Nosferatu. The reason I recommend Stasis Web of Fires is if you get MWD'd by an elite frigate and you want to increase the damage application of your drones, Stasis Web of Fires would be a good shout. And Nosferatus would be good if you ever get into a close range combat with something, again, like an elite coming up towards you and using MWDs. In terms of drones, now, I think, from what I know, the best damage type for drones is thermal. In terms of PvE, from what I know, the best damage type overall is thermal. So if you were to get hammerheads and have 5 hammerheads, you're very likely going to have a good spread of damage. The reason hammerheads and Vespers are the most expensive is because they use kinetic and thermal damage, which is the most widely applicable to a wide range of PvE scenarios. But if I had 5 hammerheads, I'd probably have the best setup for PvE damage, mainly because thermal's good against shields and pretty decent against armor as well. And I think from like pirate defense profiles, thermal is also the best one overall. But all drones do have slightly different stats. So you can see here that the flight velocity is 2k a second with an orbital speed of 528 meters per second, and the optimal range being 4.2 kilometers. If you compare that to the Vespa, the optimal range is slightly higher, 4.8 kilometers, and it is a slightly quicker ship, a slightly quicker drone. So it's always going to close the distance on its target a little bit quicker than its hammerhead counterpart. But those stats, I don't think, are massively relevant for the most part in PvE. This is going to be the difference between a few seconds of damage application from the Vespa and the hammerhead. But when those targets are grouped up, that 2 kilometers a second won't make a huge amount of difference. But you just know that the Vespa is slightly quicker and the hammerhead is slightly slower. The quickest drones, I believe, are the Valkyries, the Minmatar drones that deal explosive damage. But honestly, I liked the mixed damage profile. I'm actually running with 3 Vespers and 2 hammerheads. The reason being is because these drones were given to me by Broker from the Alliance, and I just decided to equip the ones that gave me the best damage profile all round. And so 2 thermal and 3 kinetic. I've got decent shield damage, and I've got really, really good armor damage. So these this is just a good mixed damage profile on my drones. But one of the benefits of drones is you can always equip for the situation. If you're going up against big shield tanks, you can just equip infiltrators or whatever they're called, the Amar drones that deal electromagnetic damage, and they'll be equipped for the situation. In terms of low slots, I'm running an afterburner. The reason I want an afterburner is I want to maintain and dictate range as much as possible, but also, when I am orbiting, having some kind of transversal velocity is always going to be important. The other thing that you could run is a micro warp drive, and that will help you dictate range more so. It just wouldn't allow you to have a sort of a consistent speed that's higher than average. But I have seen a video by Geeka Forte who talks about the boom and zoom, which is essentially equipping a micro warp drive, getting into a range of a target, like throwing all your drones at them and MWDing out, and the drones will always attack. If they've been told to attack a target within range, they will always attack that target until it's dead. So you can get out of range, you can go to 100 kilometers away, your drones will continue to attack the target until it is dead. So the drone control range is purely for giving them commands. When you've given them a command, they will stick to that target. I'm then running a reactive armor hardener and a medium armor repairer. So I like obviously armor repairer is important. I'll talk about why I've chosen a reactive armor hardener over an adaptive armor hardener in just a moment. And then we have a drone damage amplifier. I think running at least one of these is always really important. It's just going to give you a little bit of extra burst damage. So I'm going to show you why I run a reactive armor hardener on if I can get to ship info. Here we go. Why do I run a reactive armor hardener on armor over an adaptive armor hardener? Well, the reason I run a reactive armor hardener is it is going, essentially you have base resistances for every type of damage on armor, compared to shield where you don't have any electromagnetic resistance at all. So an adaptive armor hardener is going to give you a flat bonus to all resistance types, but that flat bonus initially gives you the base value on your electromagnetic resistance. So if you don't have any riggings for electromagnetic resistance equipped, then an adaptive shield hardener is going to give you a good base electromagnetic resistance for you to work from that point forward. Whereas with armor, you have base resistances already. So a reactive armor hardener is going to buff those base resistances, and because you already have a base resistance, the reactive armor hardener is going to be better overall, especially when piling on resistances towards things like your explosive resistance over here. Why can't I say resistance? Resistance. I keep slurring my words like crazy. Sorry. So a reactive armor hardener in general mathematically is usually better because you have base resistances for all different damage types on armor, which is why I've chosen to go for a reactive. I am not going to do the maths in the video, but that's just from some recommendations and what I worked out myself. So that's why I've chosen to go with that particular setup. In terms of riggings, again, this is not my ship, so I'm not changing the riggings because it would be expensive. He's got a 2 Warp Core Optimizer 2s on, which obviously is going to give him +4 Warp Core stability, or rather -4 enemy Warp Jammer strength, which is going to be incredibly strong, especially in PvE content where you could potentially get jammed and you're going to want to get out. He's got a Drone Firepower 2 augmenter, and he's also got a Drone Control Range augmenter. Now, the Drone Firepower augmenter 2 is great, obviously, and 46k range is fantastic. If you were to then go for a Drone Range Augmenter 2, you could get up to 51k range, which is more than enough. But if you want extra range, you can go for 2 Drone Control Range Augmenters, and if you went for two Drone Control Range Augmenters, the tier 2 version, you could get up to 20k extra range, which would be absolutely insane. So with my setup, if I had 2 of those tier 2 range rigs, I could have up to 61k range in my ship. Not entirely necessary for the content that I'm doing, but just be aware that you could have a very, very high range by having tier 2 range augmenters as rigs. But I was perfectly okay to just run with this setup. 46k range is more than enough for the content that I was tackling at the time. And so we're going to go have a quick look at doing some content now, very, very quickly, as I know this video has been relatively long already. So let's jump into it. Hey guys, how's it going? So I'm about to go warp in and do it's a very easy mission. Like this is not a hard mission, but I'm just going to be doing it to show you kind of like what playing a drone is like. So my range is 45 kilometers on my drone activation range, so I'm going to warp into the anomaly at 45k. One of the benefits of drone ships is the fact that you can have like ridiculous range. Like I don't have, because this is not actually my Vexor Navy issue. I'm borrowing this from someone in the corp, a guy called Grant, broker, really nice guy. One of the major things that you can do with a drone ship is have ridiculous range. And if you look at the ship info, you can get 15k range from advanced medium drone operation, which I already have. And then you can also get like a huge amount from riggings, which I might have shown you in the fittings section. But if you go to rigs, you can get Drone Augmenter 2, so Drone Control Range Augmenter 2, which gives you 10k, and you can fit 2 of them with no drop-off bonus. And that essentially allows you to have a 20k range. So I've actually got a 15k range missing from this ship, so I could technically have a 61k drone range in my Vexor Navy issue if I wanted to. And you could add another 10k to that if you really wanted to in a Prophecy, but honestly, I would say the 61k range is pretty insane. So now I'm here, this Caracal, I'm going to just attack that Caracal first. I'm going to pop my drones because I am in range, and they will all go off and attack this caracal. They'll have to, obviously they take time to get there, so the time to apply DPS is a thing. Why are these drones not going? These drones are now going. The time to apply DPS is a thing. So they need to get to the caracal, but they travel at like MWD speeds. So these things travel at MWD speeds. And once we get within range, I'm just going to pop some drone damage here. I could pop the railguns, but they will do negligible damage and they'll just eat into my capacitor, so there's literally no point. I might as well just sit here at range. Now, you don't need to orbit. I just find that if you're orbiting, you're always going to increase your transversal and angular velocity versus especially railgun ships. And by moving, you're always going to reduce... Moving is almost never bad, basically. Like, moving and orbiting is almost never bad because of the ability to just even slightly increase your angular and transverse velocity, which makes damage application, tracking, that much harder for both missiles and turrets. So I'd always recommend to try and move, unless you completely outrange your opponent to the point where it's just not even fun. But you can see my drones are just going to clear out this. I've done nothing. All I've done is orbit, and I've done absolutely nothing so far. I can even orbit the mission site if I really wanted to make sure I'm in range of everything, but I've done 0 in this mission right now. And as long as there are no elites that MWD towards you, you should be able to maintain an orbit range over pretty much everybody. So here we go again. Not quite in range of these guys. My orbit path will take me pretty close to them, but I'm going to immediately jump onto this heron here. Obviously, if there are no targets, your drones will come back towards you automatically. But if you do have things locked, and I'm just going to double check on my battle settings to make sure that you guys can see. Auto attack the next target is on. Auto orbit target is on. So I probably want to take that off, actually. And then everything else is off, and orbit trajectory you can display. So I'm just going to keep orbiting the Garistas pirates, and just going to let my drones do the work. I've got nothing to worry about, obviously, versus this level of mission. But if you're going up against a tougher mission, as long as there are no elites, you just want to make sure that you're keeping yourself at a safe distance. But if you have like a 60k range, let's say, that is very possible to achieve in the Vexor Navy issue with 2 drone range augmenting rigs, which I would recommend over damage rigs, because range is superior to damage most of the time. Then you're going to have no issue just randomly soloing out pretty much any normal encounter mission. The things that you might struggle with as a drone boat is potentially going up against some of the elite ships, which is why I've got things like the armor repairer and the reactive armor hardener. Those are ships that you may end up struggling against, so that's why warping in at range, sometimes even further, to see if ships come towards you very quickly is sometimes better to do. But going up against just normal encounter missions, even some of the 750k, 800k ones, even the 1.5 mil ones, you're probably not going to have a huge amount of issue doing. Okay, so I'm going to lock, and we're going to go on to the Cormorant because it's the one that's closest to me. I'm getting a little bit of lag, that's why this is doing it. Cool. Jump onto him. I'm actually going to start orbiting this guy because I want to get into range. What is this drone doing near me? Why is this drone here? Friend, you're in the wrong part of the... It's attacking, but it's near me. Okay, this seems to be a bug. I don't know which drone that is. That is a Vesper, which I think is this one here. So I'm going to quickly tell him to go attack again. You're going to go attack? There we go. Yeah, if a drone randomly comes towards you, just figure out which type of drone it is. If you've got all the same type of drone, it doesn't matter. And just reset the aggro, essentially. My hammerheads are still attacking the Cormorant, and my Vespers are now attacking the Heron, so that's perfectly fine. Okay, we're going to get into range of orbit range of these guys. Just need to orbit these guys. As all my drones are coming back towards me. And go, 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 gadget drones. Okay, they're all going. That's good. Once they actually start dealing damage and get into range, I will pop the drone damage augmenter. And should have no issues killing these guys. I'm running Mark 5 drones, by the way. This guy is still only tech level 6. So that's why I'm not in a Myrmidon. Obviously my main goal is to get this guy into a Myrmidon and start doing insane PvE content with either my Caracal plus Myrmidon or my Cyclone plus Myrmidon. But I probably will end up doing Caracal plus Myrmidon because I genuinely believe the Caracal is a better PvE ship than the Cyclone. After all my testing, genuinely believe if you're doing small scale PvE like by yourself or just in a small group of like 1 or 2 of you, I genuinely believe the Cyclone is a worse ship for PvE content than the Caracal. The Caracal can go faster, it can speed tank better, and honestly makes use of rapid mediums much more effectively because it's got a smaller signature radius. I just think the Cyclone is good in like if you're using medium missiles, but not so good if you're trying to use medium rapids. I much prefer the Caracal. After all my testing, I genuinely prefer the Caracal, which I know a lot of you would be like, why? But yeah. So this was a relatively easy run here. Relatively easy. Just kill a couple of things and just maintain range. Something that you can do, by the way, is, and I'm going to show you a brief example in a minute, if you set your drones to attack something and then you go out of range, your drones won't come back towards you. They will stay attacking that target until it's dead, and then they'll come back towards you. You have to be in range to give the command, but once you give the command, it doesn't matter after that. Cool. Orbiting, as long as the drones are attached to a target, I can actually go out of range of it and the drones will still stay on it. So as long as I activate the drones to attack a target within range of my operating range, like I'm now out of operating range of my drones. 47 kilometers is out of operating range, but you can see they're still attacking the target. Like I'm well out of operating range now, but you can see that my drones are just stuck on the target. I don't think the drone damage amplification works from this range. I'm not sure, but it might do. Looks like it is actually. So, you know, even if I'm out of range, the drones will just stay on the target that they're told to attack. They'll follow their last command, and then I'll need to get into range of the next target if I want to have them sort of attack something. But yeah, that was a very easy, one of the very easy missions, but it was just AFK and took me 4 minutes. And you know, these are things that you can really easily farm in a Vexor Navy issue. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you're all having a lovely day and do continue to do so. And yeah, if you haven't invested in drones, I'd recommend making a note and start investing into drones because they are absolutely crazy. I have also linked that Geeka Forte video in the description below, the boom and zoom. Definitely go and check it out. Interesting way of playing with a Vexor Navy issue, which I'm too scared to try myself, but you guys can definitely try it out. Cool. See you soon.